don't buy a GPU right now. Hey, what's cracking everybody? So lately I've been lurking around the Radeon, the Intel and the GeForce subreddits, and I keep seeing the same question pop up over and over again, and it goes something like, should I buy a new GPU just to get insert whatever upscaler we're talking about here? So today I want to pick a couple of GPUs that I would actually buy to get the latest and greatest upscaler, frame generation and new technology into my gaming setup. And spoiler alert, at the end we'll talk about what I'll actually do. Alright, so let's pick a low, mid-range and high-end GPU, and we'll kick it off in the low end and we'll talk about the Intel Arc B580. The Intel B580 is currently retailing from around $430 to $500 Australian. That's around $295 to $300 US. So this thing comes with 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 VRAM, and it also has Intel's new XeXS3 with frame generation. Intel are rolling that out over the next month, right? But people on the internet,
take a look at this. I found this on the internet,
have already got it working on their Arc GPUs, both Alchemist and Battlemage. Hey, someone even got it running on the MSI Claw already. For whatever reason, Intel rolled this out with their mobile gaming, I think it's Panther Lake, and they didn't roll it out immediately on launch for their desktop GPUs. I'm not sure that was the right move, but it is coming. So do you have a B580? Are you looking forward to frame generation, XeX3 and all that sort of stuff? Let me know in the comments down below. This means Intel have caught AMD with their pants down, and it's also worth mentioning that the driver situation has been vastly improved since the Alchemist days and the launch of Intel Arc. So things are getting much better. I've got frame generation now. I've got new XeX3. So, they might be edging into that second spot here. So for me, this is going to give you a great budget gaming experience, and it's only going to get better as XeX3 and Intel's new frame generation mature. What do you guys think? I'm thinking like 1080p Ultra with ray tracing turned on. Not too bad for the price. Hey, just want to jump in here and say big thank you to everyone who's bought a tee from the Computer Games Hardware store. You can get your own tee from computergameshardware.myshopify.com, and you can see the whole range. You can get a nice Computer Games Hardware shirt, you can get a mod mat, you can get a floor mat even. Have a look at the range there. If you don't want to spend any money but you still want to support the channel, please like, share and subscribe. I really appreciate it, guys. Big thank you to all our new subscribers and you OGs out there. You guys know I love you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Now let's move into the mid-range. So my pick for the mid-range is NVIDIA's 5060 Ti, the 16 gigabyte version. So if you're willing to mess around with the settings a little bit, maybe even give up ray tracing, I reckon this card is the best mid-range card and entry point into DLSS 4 and multi-frame generation. Hell, I was even playing The Witcher 3 and games like that in 4K 60 on my 2060 with ray tracing turned off. So, modern games are a little bit more complicated than that. They've got a little bit more going on and they're all optimized like shit these days. But still, you'll be able to get a fantastic experience with this card if you're looking to turn DLSS multi-frame generation and have a really good smooth experience. I'm thinking like a really high-end 1440p experience with all the bells and whistles turned on, right? Now, about the price, you need to get this as close to the recommended retail price or MSRP in the US as you possibly can, because these things can go for up to $930 Australian, which is about, I don't know, 650 US. Now, that's for all those dual OC models that have triple fan coolers and stuff like that, all the bells and whistles, but you really don't need all that stuff because these cards can come in as low as $730, which is about 510 US. Guys, that's a $200 price difference. This one is a great little card. The 60 series has always been a great little workhorse, give or take the generation and the variant that we're talking about. We're talking about the 16 gigabyte version, and here's the thing, right? I reckon at this price range, everything above this card is overpriced, except for the next one I'm talking about, so stick around. Alright guys, this is absolutely nuts, right? The lowest end 5070 Ti that I found came in at around $1,500. That's around $1050 US, right? The highest end 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte came in at around $930. So that's what, 650 US. Okay, so that's like a $570 difference. So I mean, man, the delta in the price range is just mind-blowing there. That's why this is the best mid-range pick, because the price difference, the gorge is just unbearable there. Okay, and yeah, you can argue that there's a GPU wedged in between those, the 5070, but you're not getting almost $600 better value out of the 5070 or the 5070 Ti. There's just no way. Use your DLSS, use your frame gen, and overclock the bloody thing, and you'll be laughing. It's also worth noting, guys, for me, I've got pretty good availability in Australia. I can get any of these cards at the moment. So I don't know about you guys in the US, and tariffs and all that things might be changing the game a little bit. But for the homies down under, we have access to all this stuff at the moment. Now, in the high end, I have chosen to go with AMD's Radeon RX 9070 XT. This is AMD's best card, and it's a great card in a sort of meh generation. With FSR4, this is the 4K gaming card with all the bells and whistles turned on and a great experience. FSR4 looks absolutely fantastic, and also you've got the promise of FSR Redstone coming into more games in 2026. So this is probably the way to go, with a word of warning. FSR Redstone is supposed to be here today with multi-frame generation, machine learning capabilities, more clarity, super scaling, and all this sort of stuff. But currently it's in only like 7 titles, and I think it's only Call of Duty Black Ops 7 where the full suite is actually available. That's one game. I'm really not sure what's going on with AMD at the moment. AMD's Fluid Motion Frames 3, AFMF 3, I always get that wrong. But where is it? It's nowhere to be seen. And as I said before, Intel have caught them with their pants down, and they've brought to market a low-end budget option with multi-frame generation. They beat AMD to the punch. It is actually pretty embarrassing for Radeon at the moment. So what I'm saying here, guys, is while this is like kind of like a win on this little list here, guys, it hinges pretty heavily on those features coming to this card fairly soon. I still think this is the most reasonable option because remember, the 5060 Ti comes in at about 930, which is about 650 US. So, you know, I reckon the jump over this, the $120 premium or whatever it is worth the money in this instance for this card. It's not a 5070 situation. I'd much rather have this card than the 5070. So in terms of price, that's where they're sort of coming to. So I think it's a pretty good value proposition, and you can probably bank on AMD getting their shit together at some point as new games releases and they start their 2026 Adrenaline Driver updates. Here's why the 9070 XT is a banger. When you compare it to its most direct competitor, the 5070 Ti, things get out of control real quick. So remember, for the 5070 Ti, the cheapest we could get it here in Australia was for $1,500, which works out to about 1050 USD, right? So, well, in Australia, you can expect to pay 1050 Australian, which makes it around $730 or $35 USD, right? In the high end, the most I found it for here in Australia was $1,900 for a 5070 Ti. So that works out to be about $1,330 US, which is absolutely crazy. Now, fair warning, the most expensive 9070 XT that I saw was about $1,350 Australian dollars, which is about $950 US, which is also way too much. I assure you, you will notice the missing $300 in your bank account way more than you'll notice any performance increase in the variance of the cards when you're playing your game. So just get the most reasonably priced one. So look guys, for me, if you do need to buy low or mid end and with some overclocking, with your new upscalers, with frame generation, you'll be able to get a pretty great experience on most modern games. You'll be able to tweak it so you can get a really good experience and be happy with, you know, what you've got without overpaying too much. That leads me to the title of the video, which is Just Don't Buy, which is ultimately my recommendation here, guys, because look, memory is just out of control, which means you can't even really build a current gen system for a reasonable price anyway, right? AI compute is out of control and the demand's not slowing down or anything like that. Board partners are signaling that things are getting out of control, and Zotac saying they might not even be around anymore. So I know we're expecting things to get a lot worse before they get better, right? And that's leading a lot of like tech tubers and stuff to recommend to buy now before it gets worse. But my view on it is, if you buy now, you're just overpaying less. So I would just think about it a little bit. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. What did you think about my list? Let me know in the comments down below. Guys, I had a really good time making this one. I hope you guys had a good time watching it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.